Okay, hi there. My name's Lucy, and I'm here from Inclusive Change and Inclusive Change at Work. I am talking today with Angela Loveridge from an organization called Better Together. We are talking about digital safeguarding, and the reason we're together and reason we're talking is because we want to talk about the Digital Wellbeing Conference, the Castle Conference that's being held in Bristol in April in Lee Court in Bristol. Now, over to Angela. Hello, welcome, and how are you?
Hi, Lucy. I'm good, thank you. How about you?
We're good, definitely good. We've got a lot of stuff going on at the moment in preparing
Yeah.
for the Castle Conference, which is happening in April. And I'm just really pleased to have you online and be able to chat with you.
Hey. Likewise. Looking forward to it. Let's see where this
Brilliant.
takes us.
I know. Right. So we've known each other a while now, but I'm going to ask you some questions. So let's
Okay.
start with an easy one. All right. Can you tell us a bit about you and your business?
Yeah, so I'm the founder of Better Together, and I help parents to keep their children safe online by signposting to practical tools, techniques, and resources, so that I basically do the legwork, so that they don't have to.
That sounds fantastic in terms of so you help parents, and do you do that in person or do you do that online? How do you make that happen?
Yeah, so before COVID, it was all in person. And since COVID, it's a hybrid approach, really, depending on what suits the parent best.
And what kind of things do you end up doing? Is it you're talking to young people or do you just talk to parents, for instance?
So I have been invited into schools, secondary and primary, to talk to pupils. My main focus, though, and my absolute passion is supporting parents and carers because sometimes, being a parent comes with a lot of responsibilities. And unlike other aspects of parenting, we don't really have that ability to tap into the wisdom of the older generation because they haven't actually experienced the digital world as we know it now. And so, yeah, so that's my passion, is to help parents and carers for that
I
reason.
totally get that. On a previous interview, we were talking with Professor Peter Cowlack from Loughborough University, and he said, we can't look to our elders for help on
No,
this.
this is it.
We are the generation that kind of needs to work this out and be the elders, which is
Yeah,
that's a bit of pressure.
no kidding.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So why have you what where does your passion come from? What's your background?
So I am a mum of two, and I have a master's degree in IT. And it really started with a conversation with my children's centre manager. So my youngest was starting school, and I was thinking about what I could do next in terms of work wise. And yeah, we were just having a conversation and exploring what I like. And I like working with people. And the children's centre manager said, have you thought of combining your experience of being a mum with your IT experience? Have you considered online safety? And I was just like, oh my goodness, how did I not think of that? Because when I did my dissertation for the master's, I did it on privacy. And that was literally about 8 to 9 years before the cookie law came into effect. So long before it was the bandwagon that it is now. And my peers, they're the students on the course, were like, why are you writing 10,000 words on privacy on cookies? And I was just like, yeah, but doesn't anybody know about them, or what do they feel about them, or what are they doing? While they were creating all singing, all dancing websites and databases. And I literally wrote 10,000 words on cookies. Got a distinction for it, to be fair. So when the children's centre manager made that suggestion, it just, resonated so loudly.
Can I just delve into the cookies bit a little bit?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, right. Okay. Just for somebody who might be listening who's going, why would you write? What do we need to know about cookies? What do we need to know about cookies in kind of a short message? What is it that we need to know about cookies and why is it important to do that? Accept and reject. We see those websites
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
have to click the button to accept and reject. And most people, what do you think most people click?
accept. It's easier.
Because it seems easier, doesn't it? And you think if you say reject, I'm not going to get access to everything. I'm not going to get what I need on the internet. So what is it about cookies? What's important about them?
So a cookie really is just a little digital file that collects data about your internet use and what you're visiting and where you're going, and it just logs all this information. And the companies that have cookies, which most companies do, have
Mhm.
cookies on their websites, are just basically trying to find out as much as they can about the people that visit their websites. So it's fairly innocuous, you could say, but over time, it collects more and more data, and it's just literally about how comfortable you are about giving that
Sharing that
data
data.
with others. And, it does explain why you looked at a website like 10 days ago, I don't know, 10 minutes ago, 10 days ago, and then suddenly Facebook recognizes, "Oh, so you're interested in this," or any other social media service provider, I should say, not just
I
Facebook.
get it. Well, again, actually, this is relevant because again, talking with Peter Kowalek, he had said, well, actually, it the privacy element and data and the community that
Yeah.
we are online quite a bit, we're giving away our data and giving away information to people, which is valuable to the big tech companies, for instance.
Yeah, it is valuable to them. So much so that they do invest a lot in collecting that data so that algorithms can actually give you more of what you're looking for.
Yeah, we
And
might delve into that. Yes.
and some people may not be concerned about, giving away their data, and that's fine. But
Yeah.
what I would challenge is if we're giving away our data,
Yeah.
surely surely big tech can give us some of what we would like, which is protection for our children.
Oh my goodness, you've just absolutely walked straight into my next question.
Okay.
Would How does this relate to to young people? And are we teaching and talking to young people about the impact of privacy and data sharing in terms of and what they're doing online?
Yeah, so I would say that from my perception, that schools have online safety on the curriculum. So I think most children have a level of awareness, which is
Yeah,
great. And I think what can sometimes happen though is our children, when they go to school, are usually protected by a near perfect filtering and monitoring system when they're at school, if they're
yeah,
allowed to have phones there.
yeah.
But the minute they cross the physical threshold of the school's boundaries, that protection disappears, and therefore have access, even if it's just from the distance between school and home, assuming home has monitoring and filtering of sorts. Then there is that period of time when they do have access to everything, unless unless they've got
Look,
protection on the
yeah.
device that they're searching on.
Wow.
And yeah,
It's interesting thinking of it like that, isn't it? And that whole element around smartphones, the access to information that young people have is quite phenomenal.
yeah. Way more than when I was growing up. Way more.
Totally. Right. I'm of an age, Angela, and I have memories of Just 17 and Smash Hits magazines. That was about
Yeah,
the level of my my social media
I
was,
know, right?
learning the lyrics from Smash Hits magazine. Sorry to any of you out there who are under 45, but Smash Hits was a very popular magazine in the UK, and we used to wait for it to come out every week so that we could read the lyrics of the latest music that was being released on a Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm reminiscing. Sorry, Angela, I've taken it in a completely different way, haven't I? Right, okay. I'm gonna get back to the questioning. Okay, so I had a question. Next one is okay, we're here to talk about the Castle Conference. We're
Yeah,
here to talk about digital well-being for young people. You're
yeah.
going to be at the Castle Conference. You're going to be one of our there to talk and network with the delegates that come and our other guests. Why is this so important for you?
Oh, it's really important because to have so many people who are interested in trying to safeguard children in the same venue at the same time is really important, so that we can actually, if, in effect, cross pollinate with each other,
Mm.
share knowledge and share insights. That's really important. There, I went to a conference a couple of years ago, and a fact was shared in that conference. I heard the fact, thought I had misheard it, so never quoted it. Went to the same conference a couple of years, the following year, I should say, and heard the same fact and was just like, oh, I did hear correctly. And that fact was that there are only approximately 2,000 online safety specialists
Uh,
across the whole of Europe.
say what now?
Right.
2,000
Approximately,
online safety specialists across the whole of Europe.
yeah,
Uh,
yes. And so, when we conceived of that, in light of the exponential increase in the number of
mhm.
children who are experiencing online harms, whether that be online abuse, grooming, sextortion, chroming, whatever form of online abuse children are experiencing, there are only 2,000 online safety specialists supporting this cause. And so having as many of us as possible in the
Mm,
same room is really important.
wow. It I'm just gonna pick up on something you just said.
Mm.
Chroming?
Chroming,
That's
yes.
a new one on me.
Oh, right, okay, okay. So chroming it was probably called a different name
Right.
when we were younger. It would probably be known as glue sniffing. And
Okay.
And so online, I think spring of last year,
Yeah.
it was all the rage, the new trend.
The little gas canisters. Am I going down the wrong route?
Yeah, that type of thing. Yes, that type of thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Right. I didn't know it as that. Yep.
yeah, and so it's so a young 11-year-old from Lancaster
Yep.
passed away from chroming
Yep.
last week, I believe it
Oh my
was.
goodness. So these are the vials of is it nitrous oxide? Am I right? Is it
Chemistry is not my strong point,
right?
and
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what he was inhaling, but
Yeah.
that's the type of thing, yeah.
And you can get these online. I know that you can get them online because you can get pallets of them online.
Mhm.
They are things just in case people aren't aware. They are the I think it's around the gas canisters that go in the big frothy cream makers. So in hospitality, if you go into a coffee bar or if you go into a restaurant and something comes out with whipped cream, I'm doing if you're listening on audio, you can't see me making all my finger gestures, but the big canisters, they need a gas canister to go in them in order to make the cream frothy or
Yeah,
to make a froth of some kind. But actually, what's happened is that people have found out that they contain a gas that you can inhale
yeah,
and gives you a teeny tiny high for a very short time. And as a result, young people might use them and use them more and more and more before and it can be very, very
yeah.
damaging to the extent that, yeah, you just mentioned. My goodness, I didn't think our conversation would get us there. So thank you for explaining that one. And thank you for
Mm,
bringing that one up. But I know that in terms of being able to get things from the internet, that's an element of that, isn't it? Being able to
yeah.
to buy those things, vaping even.
Yeah, that's a whole different conversation, but yes.
Sorry. Yes, we go down there. So, ah, to go back to the importance and that fact of us being in a room together and a whole load of people,
Yeah,
hopefully around about 120, in between 120, 150 people in a
mhm.
venue talking all day about this topic. I mean, I hope that it's going to be incredible.
Yes, absolutely. And even just like sharing, there's me just saying chroming and just dropping it in conversation, but just sharing those little things that are, you know, becoming prevalent, that are, somebody
Yeah.
somewhere is going to be the first in the group to know, to share that information so that we can, get access to what needs to be communicated quicker.
Well, I was talking earlier to some young people and asking them what are they doing online. I'm old, as I mentioned, smash hits. But what are they doing online? What apps are they going on and things like that? And we had a little conversation before we came online, and there was
Mm,
new ones to me that I wasn't sure about. And we were talking about things like Wiz app, that's Wizz or ZZ, depending where you come from. Wiz and Yubo, and the new one on me was Befriend, which used to be called something called Swiper.
that's right, yeah, which is, I think it's marketed to 17-year-olds, but if you look at the,
Yeah.
pictures when you, search for it online, some of the, users,
They
maybe
don't quite look 17 on those pictures.
not really, no.
No,
So it is
no.
definitely aimed at a younger, market, and it is in effect a bit like a teenager's version of Tinder. So
I
you
I put my head in my hands at that point.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's yeah. So, what are you hearing? So another question, what are you hearing from parents and young people? So what's happening in the world that you're engaging with and the people that you're engaging with? Is it really all that bad?
Obviously, there are definite benefits for children to be online. They are children, they will grow to be adults. Most of the work context, no matter what you're doing, will have some element of tech involved, even if
Mm,
it's, whatever you're doing, there will be some element of tech. So it's important for children to be familiar with tech.
yeah,
I think in terms of, what's coming up for people, I think it's just the sheer surprise at how accessible inappropriate and sometimes illegal content can be for children. And so you can literally be on the likes of a music app and have
yeah.
a child. So a parent spoke to me last week, and I posted about this actually, and she was surprised that on a particular music app her son entered a word which describes a female body part,
Mhm.
and she was horrified by the the list of content that came up
Yeah.
on the back of that. Yeah. I couldn't
Wow.
I couldn't even post. I did a screenshot and then thought better of actually sharing the screenshot because
How offensive can we be? Yes. Well, what advice did you give to that parent? How did you? Were you able to give advice to that parent?
yeah, it's really just being aware. Awareness is always the first step.
Mhm.
And with the awareness, then that helps you to focus on, okay, what do I need to do next?
Yeah,
Obviously, what needs to happen next will differ depending on the circumstance that the parent is facing. But ultimately, it will always boil down to, in my opinion, will always boil down to communication. Having those conversations. If you're
yeah,
having those conversations, then it actually lays the foundation so that if something like this does happen, then the child has somewhere that they can go to talk about it.
yeah.
Now, not all children feel comfortable talking to their actual parents, mum or dad, about awkward things like what the list of
What that young person saw and had the list of body part? Yeah,
So, it's really important for parents to be able to come up with a list of trusted adults with their children, so that if I should say, it should be if, but when
yeah,
something happens, they have a list of people that they can, in that moment, decide, "Who am I gonna talk to about this?" Because it might not be the first person on the list, it might not be the
yeah,
second. They can actually work out, "Who do I feel comfortable talking about this particular thing that has just happened?"
yeah, and that's sometimes that's hard though because some young people don't have the trusted adults around them.
No, they may not have them in their immediate family,
Mhm.
but they may have them at school. There may be, because there's always that story about that one teacher who really had my back. It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a family, as long as that child knows of somebody that they can turn to. And if they don't have a friend or family that they know in person, then they can go to the likes of Childline. They can reach out to organizations that actually support in this way.
So on that note then, what kind of organizations would you point to on the internet? I think you just mentioned Childline.
Childline.
Um, are there any what other reputable sources would you recommend for people to go to?
So there's Childline, there's the NS, there is a website called Think You Know, which
Yeah,
is think the letter U and then the word no with a K.
yeah,
And that is produced by the National Crime Agency, their education arm, which is the Child Exploitation and Online Protection
yes,
side of
I
things.
know them well.
Right, okay. So yeah, so those are some of the, and there's Internet Matters,
Yes.
and then there are other organisations where a bit more niche, but there is an increasing trend of underaged, I say underaged, teens,
Mhm.
children and young people who are under 18 who are actually becoming perpetrators themselves. And so, in those situations, there is support out there from an organization called the Lucy Faithful Foundation, and they've got created a website called Shore, SHORE, and it is encouraged for, if you yourself are under 18 and you're recognizing that you're maybe looking at things that you shouldn't be, or you know of somebody who fits that age requirement who is perhaps looking at content they shouldn't be looking at, then this is a really great anonymous source of support. So it literally depends on what the parent or the child is experiencing.
When you say perpetrator, what scale of things are we talking about? Are we talking about somebody who's hacking, or are we talking about somebody who is watching things online and maybe they shouldn't be watching those things online?
So perpetrator really is a generic term which describes somebody who is actually engaging in online harms towards another.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Sorry. Could we be talking about things like cyberbullying?
Yeah, so it could be cyberbullying, it could be the person who is trying to bribe a teenager to send them money because the teenager has sent nudes of themselves. It could be, somebody who is, making contact with underage children, boys
Yeah,
and girls, and, maybe developing a friendship, which may lead to the concept of being in a relationship and then maybe
yeah.
arrange to meet that child.
It's sometimes it is difficult to talk about this stuff, Angela, and I really appreciate you talking about those difficult things
Yeah,
because people are experiencing that stuff. And I think you just mentioned the notion of sextortion
yeah.
around, sending a photograph of yourself to somebody. And this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mm.
this is happening to boys as
Yeah,
well as girls.
yeah. Yes, definitely. So I actually was approached by a mum of 3 sons
Mhm.
because her youngest had experienced online harm
Um,
situation.
yeah.
And she approached me because no matter how much she was having no matter how many conversations she was having with her children, her sons were, especially the older 2, were saying to her that online safety and grooming is a girl problem.
Mm.
And they were
Mm.
not getting the fact that actually it's a child problem. It doesn't matter
Mm.
what
Doesn't
gender.
matter what gender you are.
No. And so, yeah, it's really important to yeah, great point, Lucy, in bringing up that sextortion does have a tendency to have boy victims.
Wow. I'm going to throw something else in here, and I haven't pre-warned you on this one.
Okay.
What would you say about the comment, TikTokers don't lie?
TikTokers don't lie.
Don't lie. So young people are turning to TikTok for answers to life questions, medical questions, and is it it's not necessarily a credible source of information.
No, so within that context, no form of information from social media is necessarily 100% true. No
Yeah,
matter which, it doesn't even necessarily have to be TikTok, it could be Facebook, it could be Snapchat, it could be any of them. You have to make sure that you find a validating alternative source of information from a credible source.
yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. I could go down a whole rabbit hole today, Angela, about photographs of royal family members and that credibility and that, oh, actually, what's real and what's not real.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think we might need to hold that one because we'll run out of time. Okay. Okay, one of my last questions was about something called the Online Safety Act.
Mm.
Um, how do you think that will impact the digital world and our ability to safeguard young people in a digital world?
So I think it's a really is a great step forward in terms of actually putting things in place to start to uh, legally keep people and children safe online. Um, Ofcom at the moment are going through a series of stages where they are trying to get information in terms of what people want. I think the current one is actually around girls and women experiencing online harms online.
Okay.
And I think that should come to an end at the beginning of next year.
Yep.
Um, but I think it's just one of those things where, as with all laws, they are there for a reason to try and keep some form of order.
Yep.
But as with all laws, there will be loopholes. And
Yeah.
especially as it's a new law, there will need to be cases to actually try to see how robust it is
Yes. I think,
and
yeah.
and to also set precedents as well. And so it's a great step forward, but we haven't actually tested it with real cases to see how effective it will be.
Really very, very insightful and yeah, no, very helpful in terms of that. And I think you're right. I think it's a new law. I would make a big guess that a lot of parents in particular and professionals working with young people don't realize the importance of it and how it can be used to support people or to take a bit of action against some of the big tech and some of the organizations that really should be applying it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
So we'll have to wait and see how that actually pans out.
I think
Well,
so. But also, if we've only got 2,000 online security safety specialists in Europe, the UK probably needs to catch up with this stuff because there's probably not enough people at the moment maybe looking at it and maybe yeah, we've got a way to go.
yeah, but
Okay.
at least we're here. We're here. We're doing something as along
I
with the
think that's
other
sweet, isn't it?
198.
Oh, oh, we're here, we're doing something. That something, for those of you that are listening or watching, will be the Castle Conference. The Castle Conference is being held and hosted by Digital Safety, CIC, and Inclusive Change at Work, a community interest company down in the Southwest. We're combining forces. We've got our conference being held in Lee Court on the 25th of April. If you would like to find out more and you would like to book your ticket, it is £9 for our delegates. £9. How do you get to go to an event like this and actually contribute to what could be groundbreaking changes within the world of digital safeguarding? You don't get that for £9. We're also going to throw in lunch and breakfast. So go to icaw-cic.com and you will find out more. Or simply Google inclusive change. You will find our website and it will take you to that space. Angela from Better Together, thank you so much for our chat today. This has been so enlightening and so brilliant to talk to you. I cannot wait to see you at the conference.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you for listening.